Okay, hi. Welcome back. Second episode of Tuesday Tea Time, which is basically just me drinking tea and talking about books. Um, Today I have green tea again in this gigantic boat-like mug that I painted at Brushfire, which is a really cool pottery place. You can paint mugs and statues and stuff, and then they glaze it. I painted it all red. When you can see, I did the flowers with a stencil. I scraped it off with a straight pin. So it took a long time, but it came out looking really cool. So yeah, I just scraped off the paint, so the white is just the actual mug. Anyway, the book today. And by the way, I've been drinking a lot of tea lately because I'm really sick, so I probably sound like a frog. I sounded a lot worse yesterday, though. I'm getting somewhat better. Today's book is, believe it or not, Pretty Little Liars, the first one. This is a series of books by Sarah Shepard that is now a TV show on ABC Family, which I saw the TV show first, and I've only seen the first season, but I actually do get into it. It's a little bit of a guilty pleasure. I'm not usually a big fan of ABC Family shows, but this one's actually done pretty well, and in many ways much more entertaining than the book. I might read the second one just to, give it another chance, but so far, not the greatest. I didn't, expect great literature out of a teen novel like this, but it was just, yeah. I mean, I read it in a few days. It was a really quick read. And I really do think you should read, everything. The classics are really great, obviously, and teach you a lot, but it's good to read everything that's out there. Give yourself a wide base of what's useful to different kinds of audiences, especially if you're a writer, because you don't want to aim towards only one demographic ever. Yeah. Anyway, the demographic that this book is written for would probably love it because they'd probably be 15-year-old girls. But, what, was it great? No. The writing is... Honestly, the show is better and the acting is better than the writing. So, I wouldn't read the book. I would just go watch the show, which is something I would never say. Usually, like, if there's a movie, I'm going to say read the book first. But in this case, just go watch it. It's actually pretty entertaining. But if you don't know, it's like a mystery involving 5 friends. One of them is missing for 3 years, and then they end up finding her body, and there's this whole investigation, and the other 4 friends are being stalked by some mysterious person who, like, knows all their secrets and stuff. So, it's entertaining. I thought I'd already seen the first season, like I said, so I read the book because I thought that, as a book, it would be more fleshed out, the characters would be more developed, and I would get more backstory and more information. But not so much. I mean, it was longer, and it was slower than the show, but I don't really think there was more information, just more words. So, again, not great. There was actually a sentence in here. It was something like, her room was exactly the same, except different. End of sentence. And I mean, I know that the writing it sounds kind of, it's third person, but it has a kind of teenagery feel. So there's a lot of slang and short sentences, and it is written the way someone would speak. And the informality of it didn't bother me so much as just stuff like that. Like, you could make that sentence a little better and still sound like a teenage girl. So. Yeah. What else? Oh, yeah. So, one thing I was thinking of, though, when I was reading this book was a blog post I saw recently on a creative writing blog. It was about, it was a lot of tips for writers, and a lot of them were very useful. Some of them I found to be a little limiting, like never use adverbs. I mean, I'm here... I will say, yes, use adverbs sparingly. I'm all for the mini writers that say that. I mean, there's nothing cheesier than, tacking on an adverb to every dialogue tag or something like that. Like, that's bad. But I don't know. I don't like saying never use adverbs because, I mean, they are words and they do modify adjectives and verbs. I mean, I think that the rule should be rephrased as use adverbs sparingly, which is an adverb. Use adverbs only when necessary. And then, an addendum to that rule would be, and if you can't tell the difference between it when it's necessary and when it's not, then don't use them at all. Anyway, rules like that. And one of them, though, was talking about how, like, you want to get to the point and you want to cut out anything in your writing that is not absolutely necessary, which I agree with. If you've got your main character just brushing his teeth and putting on his clothes for no reason, if that's not setting up a setting where some action is going to take place, or that's not giving us information about the character or something that's going to happen, then there's no reason for that. I agree. Cut it out. But I did find it weird that they said their way of phrasing this was like saying, oh, anything in a novel that you would skip over, cut that out of your writing. And I guess I had to read that a few times because I was like, wait, people do that? I mean, I really don't do that. Like, I don't think I've ever done that in pleasure reading. Like, for school, yes. Like, sometimes, I mean, I'll admit, I did a bit of skim reading and, skipping and finding, like, the absolute necessary things for my paper or the discussion I was going to have or something like that for a class in school. Yes, because, I mean, I was an English major and also a dance major. I didn't have time all the time to read absolutely everything, though I would have liked to. But in pleasure reading, I would never think to skip a section of a novel. That just doesn't make sense to me. I need the details. Like, I'm just such a specific, detail-oriented person. I don't know. I just never would have thought to do that. And I kind of felt a little slighted as a writer because I was like, wait, people actually skip chunks of their novel that they just can't get into. But yeah, so apparently people do that. So this novel is the first. I did think of that when I was reading this. There were a lot of parts that I didn't skip over, but I could see myself doing that if I were the type of person that would skip over sections of a novel. So, yeah, just a lot of details that I didn't really find that incredibly necessary. She talked about every time a character was introduced, she, went very specifically through what they were wearing, and it's down to the very brand name. And, I mean, I get it. These are, like, kind of rich, suburbanite teenagers that are a lot of them are very into fashion and whatnot. But I just didn't think it was necessary that often. Like, every single time we saw a character, we had to know exactly what she was wearing. I mean, if that was really, really important to the scene, great. But I don't really care what brand her shoes were if she's just walking across the parking lot to go meet up with a friend at school. Like, that's just not important information to me at that point. But she did that a lot. And every time we saw a character, their hair color or skin tone or whatever was reintroduced. And these are not the details we need, people. I mean, we get it. The girl's got red hair. You've said that every single time she's come into the book in any way. And I just think, one time is enough. We get what she looks like. Now we need to know more about her. What are her thoughts? Like, how does she feel? Like, why is she there? Details. Yes, details are extremely important. But we don't need to know, exactly her hair color every single time she comes back into the book. I mean, I think we have enough attention span to remember that she had red hair. Anyway, just little pet peeves of mine, but, it wasn't like a complete waste of time. I think the show's better. I think it's got some pretty decent stuff, for an ABC family show. So, anyway, that's all for Tea Time today because I have to run. But thanks for watching, and I hope it was kind of enjoyable. And if this was like your favorite book ever, I hope I didn't just totally ruin it for you. But anyway, thanks. Bye.